Thank you very much. My name is
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My name is Ahmed Fati for Masr Al Arabiya News of Egypt and other Arabic news media. I'll be very concise with my question. I see the measures that your ministry have already taken and the French government taken, which there is a tremendous focus on countering terrorism inside prisons. While I have not read anything or have seen any concrete actions that there is counter-terrorism by applying an outreach program to embrace these disenfranchised minorities in Europe from West Africa and North Africa. As we all know, Europe is different in the structure than the strategies that have been applied by the FBI post September 11. What's your view for future reforms to go out the walls of the prison into the streets and the poor neighborhoods to eliminate the risk of radicalization right from the root? Thank you.
Oui, vous avez...
Yes, you're quite right. And when I spoke about the responses that France is providing, they are diverse, multiple responses that aim to address these new and multiple forms of terrorism. In France's response, we have the justice response, that's my area. Security, of course. In other words, what happens before justice, information, monitoring of surveillance of people, a number of administrative measures with regard to movement of people. Then we have public policy on education. The 21st of January plan of the French government is a plan that also provides for means and methods and to deal with education. And we've also mobilized city policy, because there are two major categories where you have the peripheral areas of cities and the inner city areas. And for years we have seen that the state has been receding in certain areas where you don't have public services. Very often schools have closed, kindergartens have closed, post offices have closed, police stations have closed, libraries have closed, social services have closed in some of these areas. So the state is not present in those areas, and the inhabitants are left to their own devices. And very often in those areas there is a congregation of people who, for the majority of them, are 90% of them are French, but very often they are, because of their appearance, they're discriminated against. And there are areas of the country where people are grouped together because of how they look, and it's only to how they look, because if you look at their family history, there may be people who come from the Maghreb, from sub-Saharan Africa or the Caribbean. And of course this just shows that you can't treat people depending on how they look. And we do have to act in those areas. And how do we do it? Education, bring back public services, bring back the presence of the state and people on the ground that represent the state. We need to breathe back life into the principle of equality, to make sure that wherever you live in France, you feel that you are French, with the same rights and the same access to institutions as others have. And the United Nations Charter also calls for equality. So all countries then that are members of the United Nations are countries who feel that equality is a goal of public policy, public action. And when I say that we have to try to dry up the recruiting grounds for terrorists, that means that we have to ensure that young people don't face these temptations, because they can see that they have prospects. If they don't have any prospects, it's a different story. It's probably easier to think that you can be a hero by dying, but at that age you should be thinking about 1,000 things you could do with your life.